Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Tonight, we look at a story unfolding in the vast blue expanse of the South China Sea. It's about sovereignty, resources, and the shifting balance of global power. The Philippines has just taken a bold step, publishing a new official map of its territory. This map is a direct challenge to China's sweeping claims over one of the world's most critical waterways. A significant portion of global trade, trillions of dollars, passes through these waters every year. The seabed holds vast reserves of oil and natural gas, resources that could power nations for decades. When two countries clash here, the ripples are felt across the global economy. This is a David versus Goliath story, played out with Coast Guard cutters, water cannons, and now, a map. Tensions have reached a fever pitch. Chinese vessels have used water cannons against Philippine boats, causing injuries and damage. The Philippines, under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has decided that silence is no longer an option. This new map is a declaration: this is our water, and we will not be intimidated. China has its infamous 10-dash line, claiming nearly the entire sea. Now, the Philippines has its own official cartographic response. This is more than a dispute over names on a chart. It's a fundamental disagreement about the rules that govern our world. The outcome will test international law, alliances, and the resolve of nations to defend their rights. To understand today's crisis, we need to look back. China's claim to the South China Sea is rooted in historical rights, represented for decades by a 9-dash line. In 2023, Beijing released a new map with a 10-dash line, expanding its claims. But in 2016, an international tribunal at The Hague ruled decisively for the Philippines, stating China's claims had no basis in international law. Beijing rejected the ruling and shifted tactics, building artificial islands in the Spratlys, turning reefs into fortified military bases. These islands now host runways, radar domes, and missile systems, creating a network of unsinkable aircraft carriers. Alongside this, China has deployed a maritime militia, hundreds of vessels, officially fishing boats, but operating under state direction. They swarm disputed areas, intimidate local fishermen, and block access to reefs. Their civilian disguise creates ambiguity, allowing China to assert control incrementally without triggering war. This salami-slicing strategy involves a series of small, calculated actions: water cannon blasts, ship bumps, none enough to justify war on their own. Dozens of such incidents have occurred since early 2023, each designed to force others to back down. It's a long-term campaign to wear down resistance and establish de facto control. The goal: reverse a century of humiliation and reassert China's central role on the world stage. The Philippines' new map is the latest challenge to this strategy. The stakes are high, and the world is watching. The South China Sea has become a proving ground for the future of international order. The Philippines has refused to buckle under relentless pressure. President Marcos Jr.'s administration has shifted to assertive transparency, documenting every incident and rallying international support. The new national map is the cornerstone of this defiance. It clearly marks the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, as granted under UNCLOS. The map uses the official name West Philippine Sea for these waters, reinforcing the 2016 Hague ruling. It's a public official rejection of China's 10-dash line, a document Manila can present in every international forum. On the water, Philippine Coast Guard and supply vessels continue perilous missions to outposts like the BRP Sierra Madre, a symbol of sovereignty. These missions are routinely harassed by Chinese ships, but the Philippines persists, capturing global attention. The government's message is clear. This is an existential fight for the right to fish, explore for resources, and exist as a sovereign nation. The new map is their standard in this fight. Manila's resolve is now a rallying point for international support. The world is taking notice. The cartographic battle is just beginning. The battle over the South China Sea is also being waged on our screens. In April 2025, Google Maps made West Philippine Sea more prominent within the Philippines' EEZ, a major victory for Manila in the information war. China, meanwhile, treats maps as instruments of state power. In October 2025, Chinese customs seized 60,000 maps for omitting the 10-dash line and Taiwan as a province. For China, maps are prescriptive, tools to project its vision of the world. For the Philippines and its allies, maps should reflect international law, not national ambition. This clash is playing out in real time. with tech companies and governments caught in the middle. Google's label change, though small, was a significant moment in this digital tug-of-war. Chinese officials insist the South China Sea is the only legitimate name, while academics reinforce Beijing's claims. Every label, every line, every pixel is contested territory. The digital map has become a new front in the struggle for sovereignty. The Philippines is not standing alone. Under President Marcos Jr., Manila has reinvigorated its alliance with the United States. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement now gives the U.S. access to 9 strategic bases, some facing Taiwan and the South China Sea. In April, the Philippines and the U.S. launched their largest ever joint military exercises, joined by Australia and Japan. These drills build interoperability and send a clear signal to Beijing. The U.S. has publicly condemned China's coercive actions and reaffirmed its mutual defense treaty with the Philippines. China's salami slicing is designed to avoid triggering this treaty, but as incidents escalate, so does the risk of miscalculation. The region is now a central theater for U.S.-China strategic competition. The Philippines is at the heart of America's Indo-Pacific deterrent strategy. By standing firm, Manila is defending not just its territory, but the rules-based international order. The West Philippine Sea is now a critical test case for global security. Alliances are being tested and strengthened. The world is watching closely. Beyond politics and military posturing, this dispute deeply affects people's lives. Filipino fishermen face constant harassment from Chinese vessels, losing access to ancestral fishing grounds and vital income. For coastal communities, the conflict means less food and more uncertainty. The South China Sea is a vital artery of global commerce. Over a third of world shipping passes through these waters. Any disruption would send shockwaves through supply chains, causing delays and higher prices worldwide. The region is also rich in oil and gas, crucial for the Philippines' energy security. China's expansive claims block access to these resources, fueling resentment and conflict. Nationalism is rising on both sides, making compromise harder. Viral videos of confrontations stoke public anger and pressure leaders to escalate. In China, state media frames the dispute as defending sacred territory. This feedback loop of nationalism makes peaceful resolution increasingly difficult. The human and economic stakes could not be higher. To grasp the South China Sea crisis, we must understand China's salami slicing strategy. It's a series of small, calculated moves, each too minor to provoke war, but together they change the status quo. By surrounding contested features with layers of vessels, China makes its control a new normal. This approach tests the limits of international law and U.S. security guarantees, creating doubt and hesitation. If successful, it could set a precedent for powerful nations to rewrite the rules by force. The Manila-Beijing standoff is sending shockwaves across the Indo-Pacific. Vietnam is modernizing its military, while Indonesia is bolstering defenses around the Natuna Islands, both wary of China's tactics. China's economic influence has divided ASEAN, paralyzing collective action. Countries like Cambodia and Laos, reliant on Chinese aid, hesitate to criticize Beijing. This fractured response plays into China's hands, allowing it to handle disputes bilaterally. ASEAN's inability to unite weakens regional solidarity. Old alliances are being tested, and new security partnerships are forming. The region is on edge, shaped by China's growing shadow. The Philippines' new map is more than a cartographic act. It's a bold stand in a high-stakes struggle. The risk of miscalculation in the South China Sea is higher than ever. The international community must support the 2016 arbitral ruling and uphold international law. Diplomacy is essential, but must be backed by collective resolve. For the world, this is not a distant issue. Global security and economic stability are at stake. The outcome will shape the rules of the 21st century. Will might make right, or will law and diplomacy prevail? The waters of the West Philippine Sea are now the front line in that fight.